The value of education cannot be overemphasized. Amongst other gains, it helps you meet basic job qualifications and helps you secure those better jobs. The standard process of getting educated often tends to neglect financial literacy, however. And here in North America, for example, many college and university graduates struggle to move ahead financially because they are burdened by debt accumulated during their student years. Emo Ikede is a Nova Scotia-based financial coach who has been helping students make better financial decisions over the last 2 decades. Emo joins me today to talk about this and more. Welcome to the studio, Emo.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You are most welcome. Now, before we get into it, I did hear you say a couple of very interesting things, and I'm going to quote you on 3 statements.
Okay.
that show that I am sitting across a very intelligent mind. The first is, I don't know what debt looks like.
Right.
You got my attention with that one. Then you also said, I have never had a mortgage for more than 7 years.
Yes.
Yes, you stole my brain with that one. And then ideas beget things. You
Yes.
like to turn ideas into things.
Yes.
Okay, so those are 3 statements that I'm sure you're going to tell us a little more about. You have this amazing book called How Students Save Over $10,000 a Year. Before we talk about the book, let's talk about those 3 statements and anything else you want to share about yourself.
Right. So I'll give you a little story. When I was in high school back in Nigeria, I remember coming to school with my pocket money or whatever money for the month. And I remember having friends who came with more money than I did. But at the end, they came to borrow money from me at the end of the month, right? So I always, since I was a kid, I always had a way of not spending more than I had, right? So that was when I was a kid growing up. Now, again, coming to Canada, I still brought the same values that my parents taught me with about money, is that you don't spend more than you have. And then you try to see how you can maximize whatever it is you have. And so I never really fell into the trap of the consumer debt that most people tend to have.
Right.
So things like I've never had a car payment. I don't know what that looks like.
Wow.
Right. So if I want a car, if I have $2, I buy a $2 car. Right.
Interesting.
Right. I think in the last 20 or 25 years, the most I have paid on a credit card is like $1 or something in interest.
Wow.
Right. I think that I take the time to plan out how my money goes, just the same way how you take the time to plan out how you get a job and how you would, spend money, I guess, so that I put myself in a situation whereby I never spend more than I have.
Right.
But I still get the things I need, right? So whether I buy a car for $7,000 or I buy a car for $70,000, I still have transportation, right? So it just depends on how you want to look at it and what's important to you.
In other words, you're financially literate.
Yes, I try. And I sleep well at night because I don't owe anybody money.
I can imagine.
Right.
That is the place to be.
Right. And my goal is to try to get people to understand that money is not complex and they too can have that. It's nothing special. It's just you have to make a decision to be mindful about how you use your money and get some education on that.
So that also covers that second statement you made about mortgage. So basically what I'm hearing is that you understand money movement as far as your pocket is concerned.
Yes.
And so you basically stay in control of things. And then that way your money doesn't run away with you.
Right.
And put you in debt.
So here's one little thing I say. Interest is good when it's being paid to me. Interest is not quite as good when I'm paying it to someone else. So I try to make it such that more of that comes when it's being paid to me, as opposed to me paying it out. And if you do the calculations, you'll find that if you have a mortgage for 4 to 7 years or whatever, you're paying this much in interest as opposed to someone who has it for 25 years who pays that much.
Right.
Now, I do understand life throws circumstances and curves and all that stuff. And you could have a hurricane happen and you have to change something, change your roof and all. So life happens. But I think that if you're still very mindful about your mortgage and the goal of trying to pay as little as possible,
right,
and you do some of the things which I'll talk about at another show, you could actually knock down your mortgage, by many, many years compared to if you just let it happen as the bank says it should be.
You're definitely a man to know, for sure.
Well, thank you.
So to the book, How Students Save Over $10,000 a Year. I'm looking at the layout of this book. And as we were talking, getting ready for the show, we're saying that this is a book but it's also a podcast. It also evolves into seminars. It evolves into so many things. But today we're looking at it in book format.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the layout of the book, and this is almost, it looks like a how-to guide
Yes.
for all students navigating money. So is this your story? What's led you to writing this book?
Right. That's a good question. So when I was doing my MBA, I noticed that, just looking around at the students and all, there were students who were very smart at everything else. But when it came to money, it's just the money came and it went out.
Yes.
And so I thought that if people who were this smart could have, who were doing like business programs or doing whatever, could have issues dealing with money, how about the other people who were doing things that were had nothing to do with finance? And so I thought, could I synthesize some of the information I've had over the years, or some of the lessons I've learned over the years, and create something that is straight to the point, so that in a short amount of time they could look at that in less time than it takes to watch a movie, in less time than it takes to go order something from Starbucks.
Right.
They could figure out a bunch of strategies that, if they applied, would help them reduce the amount of money they spend while going through school. So that's how that book came. So I wrote that, I think it was a couple of months after I finished my MBA was when I wrote that. I took a few months off because I'd been busy with the MBA, and then I wrote that, right?
So how many other academic hats do you wear? There's the MBA. Is there any other?
So I have a Bachelor's of Science in Geography and Urban Planning. I'm also a project management professional, and I'm a systems engineer, Microsoft certified systems engineer, and I also have my A+ certification, which allows me to work with technology, work with computers, and work with networks. I also dabbled into website auditing, mostly because I wanted to audit my website, and also SEO, search engine optimization, because I wanted to make my website better. Well, what I found now is that I have clients who need some of those services, and even though it's not my core thing, I still do it for them, right? So my take is just to keep on learning. I learned how to create videos and online courses because I wanted to send the message out. And so it's more, my learning is more of an on-demand type thing. If I need something, then I'll take the time to learn it. I still understand that I shouldn't do everything, so I still outsource a bunch of things. For example, the cover to that book I outsourced, right? And there was somebody who that was their job, and was able to do that in 2 days for me, right? As opposed to me spending all kinds of time trying to get it, and it wouldn't have been as good as that, right? So I understand that there are things to outsource, but I still like to know how to do things. So if I had to, at 2:00 in the morning, make a change, I could do it myself.
So you are definitely a lifelong learner with a passion for education.
Yes, I am. I am.
Both to learn it and to pass it across, to share it.
Right.
And I think that's part of what I see in the book here. There's a couple of interesting headers here covering budgeting, tuition, fun. But there's one that strikes me here. You made a statement that says food costs is usually the next large expense a student has to deal with after accommodation and tuition.
Right.
We're in North America, we're in Canada.
Right.
That sounds interesting because you'd have thought, isn't this the food basket of the world?
Right. Well, food is, as you know, it's because of the cost of labor and the price of things going up and raw materials and supplies and fertilizer, food prices have gone up, especially since the pandemic. Now, if I pull this out a little bit and I talk about the average family, the average family spends about, if you take the top three, that's your car, your food, and transportation, that's 62% is spent on that. I believe food is about 20-something%. So my take is if you could deal with managing those three things, including food, then you make a big dent. It's not the cup of coffee you have here that does you in. It's the how much are you spending on, on food, how much are you spending on accommodation, how much are you spending on transportation. Those are the big three that get you if you don't get them right.
Right. So these are the tips and the tricks around the big ticket items.
Yes. Or the big ticket expenses.
Budget.
Yes.
Big ticket expenses
on a student's budget.
On a student's budget.
Right.
This is really interesting. I was, just looking through and thinking, this is a guide and a manual that every student coming in to North America, or any student actually coming out of being under their guardians or their parents,
yes,
and having to control money for the first time,
yes,
should actually have access to. because if you understand the plot
Right.
from the start, then you can control the cards
Right.
very early on and enjoy, that statement that you said that you haven't known a day of debt. That is
Right.
just awesome. It's a challenge, I think, that many people should take on.
So I mean, to add to that, I think that as you said, money management has, if you want to call it like a game, and it has rules. If you understand the game and you understand the rules, then you can play, and you can play to win. If you don't understand the rules and you don't understand the game, you don't even know where the goal is, and you're just going, and the wind blows you to wherever it blows you to, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's how people get into trouble. It's not because it's difficult. It's just they haven't somehow gotten the chance to acquire that knowledge to be able to take better control of their money. Which is why I'm giving away the book
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
for free.
Did you hear that?
Right.
So there's a giveaway, and that is awesome. We're learning about managing money, and you're saying you don't have to pay to get the information that we don't have to pay to get the information that you have built over decades.
Yes, I don't want money or the ability to pay to be the barrier to get the information. So yes, I'm giving it away for free, and you'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yes,
Right.
yes, for sure, we will. In looking over some of the aspects of the book, and even looking over your website, ejitech.com,
Yes,
I can see that there's definitely very many parts to you.
yes. I started the company in 2002, so it's been
Okay.
around for that's 22 years now. Well,
My goodness.
yeah, 21 years. So yeah, it's basically 20 something years of learning and trial and error to try to make it easier for the next person to follow that path if they choose to. Right.
So a book like this actually encapsulates all of the journeys, the lessons learned,
Yes.
and becomes almost like an FAQ pod,
Right.
where you can, get stuff to make your journey, make the journey of others easier than
Right.
for those who had gone before.
Right. And even
Now-
easier than what I might have gone through.
Exactly.
Right. So-
Exactly. I think that is a noble cause,
Well, thank you.
because you didn't necessarily have to do that. So basically, I'm looking at this book, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think if I were a student watching this right now, the big seller, I think, here is that I'm looking at a roadmap,
Right.
a roadmap to navigate my finances, and
Yes.
tips and tricks
Right.
to break down the very big ticket items, the big ticket expenses, and
Yes.
make them manageable in here.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct, because I think it's small incremental changes every day is what amounts to a big change at the end of 4 years. So can you make those incremental changes? And yes, you can, because they're pretty painless. I always give the example of you could make a cup of coffee yourself for 5 cents. Now, if you add milk and cream, it could be 10 cents.
Yes.
Or you could buy one for $5. It's still the same coffee, but suddenly you spent 5 cents as opposed to, so you spent $5 as opposed to 5 cents. Now, as a guy who trades stocks, if you told me I could buy a stock for 5 cents and sell it for $5, right? I would have my yacht,
Yes.
in
for
less
sure.
than a year, right?
Oh, yes.
So 5 cents to $5. But that's exactly what you do when you pay $5 for something you should pay 5 cents for or 10 cents for, right? So that's the way I look at things. And I'm not saying you shouldn't go and occasionally go have yourself a $5 coffee,
Right.
but I'm just saying that if that's your go-to, as long as you're aware that you're paying $5 instead of 5 cents and you're okay with it, then it's all good, right?
So this is basically the journey that shows you where all your 5-cent savings are, your
Exactly.
10-cent savings are, all
Exactly.
around the journey of everything that as a student you would have to take care of, be responsible for on your student journey.
Yes.
So how can people lay a hold of this amazing book, especially since there's a free giveaway? I'm sure everyone's itching to hear.
Right. So the best way to get the book is to go to my YouTube channel, which is EJI Tech Education. I believe
EJI Tech Education.
no EJI. Yes, EJI Tech Education.
EJI Tech Education.
Yes.
Okay.
There is a video there that has a it's a 1 minute video to give you information on how to download the book and also use the coupon to get it for free. Because if you don't use the coupon, the book will cost you about $6.
Wow.
If you use the coupon, you'll get it for free, right?
Grab your coupons, people.
So grab your coupon and so just watch the video. It's about, like I said, a minute long, and you will get some information as to why I'm giving away the book and how to download your copy for free.
So what happens if I don't watch my 1 minute tutorial?
You might not get the coupon, and you will not be able to download it for free.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's follow the instructions of the educator.
Right.
Make sure that you get the coupon, read the instructions, so you'll be able to download the amazing book, How Students Save Over $10,000 a Year Without Any Hitches. And
one last thing I would like to add is, because I have information or videos on how students can save money, I have some more things for students. The best way to get more of this information is to subscribe to the channel.
So apart from downloading the book,
right,
there's more information. I've actually browsed the website and I can see that there's actually some amazing nuggets here. So the best way is to actually subscribe to the channel. And then that way you'll have notifications about all the other amazing material that your financial coach is making available to you.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's been fun. Like I said, my goal is to make it easier for people to manage money, manage business, and manage personal productivity and development. And YouTube gives me the opportunity to do this for free.
Right.
So people can have access to it 24/7, whatever works for them.
Again, that is very selfless, very noble, very thoughtful, and we are very thankful.
Thank you.
I've been talking to Emo Ikede, a business and financial coach here in Nova Scotia. Now, don't forget to follow him on all his social media handles and subscribe to his channel. You should also subscribe to this channel, Community Updates, CU, if you haven't done so already. I am Modele, and I will see you in the next one. Stay blessed.